You're having hot flashes too, aren't you?
Kind of am, yes. When we have hope,
Right.
we fight.
But it's like the cockroach phenomenon. It's not how much they eat, it's what they fall in and spoil.
Ew.
It's either all of us move forward or ultimately none of us do. It's like not rocket science. You can decide what you believe, what you value, what's important to you, and you can live for that. And don't let anybody ever tell you different. And that's how I think racism and all these other gender stuff goes away. It's when we work together and de-other each other. Just to be an activist is because of white skin privilege. Mm-hmm. I have not had to fight to feed my family. I have not had to fight to keep a roof over their head. I have not had to fight racism coming at me every day.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's why all the mutual aid stuff that goes on is such a critical piece of building the world we want. And we can make the world better every day by how we treat each other. That doesn't sound very revolutionary, but it is.
Welcome to this Apostate Sisters interview series. I'm Patty, and in this space, I sit down with the courageous people who've walked away from high-control environments, whether religious, ideological, or institutional. Together, we explore their stories of deconstruction, discuss personal autonomy, and expose the impact of coercive power dynamics. Most importantly, my guests will remind us that none of us have to walk this path alone. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Jerry, my dear friend and mentor. Jerry is an 85-year-old elder whose life reflects both deep-rooted experience and unflinching honesty. Jerry brings his wisdom, forged through decades of activism, Indigenous identity, personal loss, and a lifetime of asking the hard questions, including the ones we're often told not to ask. In our conversation, we explore what shaped him, how identity and trauma are intertwined, what it means to speak truth to power, but more importantly, what it means to speak truth to goodness. Jerry challenges us to think critically about strategy, truth, and the systems we live in. His insight is fierce, thoughtful, and full of heart. Let's meet Jerry. Help the sisters keep this healing content coming. Like, subscribe, and comment. Drop some dollars, or support us by becoming a channel member or patron for extra perks. Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Patty. What's up?
Thanks for being...
Why am I here in this space? This is the first time I've ever been in a studio that you needed a shoehorn.
My little 5-foot by 5-foot studio. It's cozy. Woo.
Yes. And you're having hot flashes too, aren't you?
Kind of am, yes. Well, Jerry, I brought you here onto the channel because not only do I reference you all the time, for the listeners, you should know I talk all the time about my octogenarian activist friend Jerry, and that's the guy right there. So I'm super excited to bring him to you.
Not only that, I'm 85.
And you're 85, yeah, right? Octogenarian.
Well, I knew that.
Did you ever think you'd get that title?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I know, right?
I thought that sounds like octopus. I don't like octopus.
I mean, there's a reason.
Could, yeah.
There's a root word relationship there, Jerry.
Great to be here.
It is.
It just, we did a podcast together in our spacious studios overlooking Southeast 105th Avenue.
That's right.
And now this is a much more intimate setting.
Yes.
And I really am happy to be here.
I'm really happy that you said you would come on the channel and do an episode with me, because I feel like I have always felt inspired by you. I've known you for three years now.
Coming up, yeah.
Yeah, and you've become such an integral part of my family. You're like, I'm going to cry, but you're like, you know, kind of grandpa to my kiddos.
Absolutely.
And, well, we met through activists. Fuck. How am I going to get through this, Jerry?
I get this a lot. You know, I just show up and people start crying. I don't know why.
Maybe this is why I do most of my interviews via Zoom, because I can't handle my shit when I'm like right here with someone's energy, dude. But
oh dear, you might be exposing who you actually are. That's terrible.
Damn it.
Do you have a bag? We could put it over your head.
My stony face.
Your stony face.
Well, that's a different thing.
Okay, calm down. What are we doing?
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Okay, so you are here because you and I had a podcast a couple years ago called Speaking Truth to Goodness, which playlist is in the channel if you'd like to see it. But our intention was to unfuck the world, I think. Right?
Well, no, yes, and the method was trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
So with our comrade Michaela, we spent many hours just trying to look at where we are, how we got here, and if we're going to get out.
Exactly.
In one piece. And
we're not, by the way.
Well,
nobody gets out alive.
Well, in one piece.
Well, okay, you might be in one piece. Yeah.
So, but I think it's why I love doing the podcast with you and Michaela, and then just you and I. Like, we don't have conversations that go deep very often. Yeah. And we set up an environment in which every conversation was deep because we're just dealing with our spiritual, physical survival in a world that does not sort of enhance our opportunities. It's and it's filled with beauty and wonder and all of that stuff too. So it's finding the balance between the harsh reality that we face and the beauty we find in friends and the natural world, and why I've never given up hope in 85 years. When I really know better than to have a hope. Damn.
But you're hitting on a good point that might actually be a theme here for us today is hope. Because when we give up hope, we roll over and let fascism take hold. When we have hope,
right, we
fight.
Right. Yes, a real Pandora's box, actually. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And, and we need to do it together. Can't do it in isolation. So.
No, I can never understand the people who want to build a better world for them. To me, it's all or nothing.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, they're doomed to failure because you cannot create a viable world alone. And one of my current obsessions is how American individualism is actually a big part of the poison that is keeping us down, that mm-hmm. is keeping us thinking that we can't get together, we don't know how we can move forward as a whole. But you're right, it's either all of us move forward or ultimately none of us do. It's like not rocket science.
Right. Well, Jerry, I have this feeling that there may be people in my audience who are a little bit surprised by your very progressive views as an 85-year-old, because I think a lot of people have experienced older folks who are very conservative, very stuck in their ways, very judgmental, all those things.
Very scared, very afraid.
Very afraid.
Very afraid.
You think that's what it comes from?
Okay, so I'll tell you a little story. It's the only story I'll tell today.
Yeah, right.
So when I was working at the Student Counseling Center at UCLA, a parent, not understanding that I was a graduate intern, called and asked me to help him get his daughter institutionalized. What? Why? Well, she opposes the war. Wrong number. I mean, I didn't hang up, but...
This was like Vietnam?
Vietnam.
Yeah.
This is Vietnam. And I thought, how could a parent imagine institutionalizing their daughter for opposing the war? And then I realized that it's a sort of... it's like opening the dam. If you admit that you're wrong about the war as a parent, then you might be wrong about other things. Mm-hmm. And you're sure you don't want to go there. So you're going to hold tight to everything that you feel protects you and not be open to new information, new experience. And so there's a fear that if I'm wrong, I don't exist. If I've been, it's like, can't do that. So you hold on tight. So I think fear is maybe the biggest barrier to us moving forward.
That resonates for me.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the core of control, is if those who wish to control others can put the people they want to control into a place of fear, like the actual fear response, fight or flight kind of thing, they've got them, because all of our logic, our rationality goes out the window when we're in a survival state of fear.
Well, my experience with the Promise Keepers, in a non-denominational right-wing cult of sorts, their message was, three of us went to a 3-day rally from a human rights group here in Portland, including women who weren't allowed in Promise Keeper rallies, but it was at Autzen Stadium, so they couldn't keep them out. So there were, I think, 4 women and 3 men who went. And basically the message was, oh my God, the world is scary. It's terrifying. You don't understand your kids. You've lost your job. It's just like, you'll never figure it out.
But I know that you were not ever religious your whole life. And so you walked into that scenario and you heard the fear. But I guarantee you, the people who were raised in that shit, they are in there and they would tell you that they feel edified, Jerry.
Exactly.
It's fucked.
Right? But the message is, you'll never figure it out. It's too complicated. It's too scary, and you know it is in your gut and your head. You don't have to, because we've figured it out. So all you have to do is trust us. Pretty graphic, don't you think? And then they did something that was so incredibly brilliant. So we're talking about
this is still at
30,000 people here.
Okay, yeah.
And they say, okay, all the young men who are here without their parents, stand up. They stand up. We are your parents. We will take care of you.
It's
slick
so weird.
Shit. Very slick shit.
So that was your introduction to the indoctrination that so many of us received from the time we were born.
Yes, and oddly, out of that's been about 20 years, maybe something like that. I didn't realize that I had predicted Trump. What?
Oh yeah.
Because I said, if progressive people don't address the emotional needs of working people, which the right wing does in a corrupted way, we're going to lose. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And
well, we know that exactly. We know that there was actual decisions made, I forget if it was Schumer, where they made the decision to abandon the rural voters because they thought they could get more votes by appealing to the educated populations in the cities. They literally said they were abandoning working class people, Jerry.
I am silent so that I do not embarrass myself by roaring on air. It's just like, and this is sort of how I got this way. It's like,
well, yeah, let's talk about that.
How did I get this way?
Yeah, how did you get this way, Jerry?
How did I get this way?
Acclimate the people to who you are.
Well, I don't think you can actually see my free-range chicken T-shirt, but
I'll put a picture.
Okay. I've been a free-range chicken. I was not. I went to church a couple of years. I don't know. I gave a Christian Endeavor talk on Buddhism and nobody was interested, so I left. It's like, okay. Never,
they might not have been ready for that in the 50s there, Jerry.
Yeah, it's like I was 13. My parents never told me what to do. They never told me what to believe. They never told me what to think. They never told me what classes to take. They never told me to get a job. They said, you're a smart kid. Got a good heart, figure it out. So literally, I was left free to invent myself. Is there a downside to this? Yes. So a free-range chicken, there's no nest, no coop, no pen, no flock. Mm-hmm. You're out there on your own. And I was. So I have the luxury of never having been incorporated into the mainstream. it's like, what a gift.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to unlearn stuff. So I had to figure everything out myself, including parenting, which I'm not sure how well I did. They think I did well, but I'm not sure. It's like, but it's allowed me to see things differently because I don't have all that shit cluttering up the system. And then I went to Africa for
How old were you when you went to Africa?
24.
Okay. And you went for?
Went there to get a teaching credential at the University of East Africa and then teach in Tanzania. My younger daughter was born there in a 2-bed hospital. I learned that there are other cultures besides this crap that passes for culture in this country. The English teachers in my program said, America's the only country to go into decline before it was civilized. And I thought it was sour grapes. I didn't realize it was true. An embarrassing moment. The other experience when I came back, another friend who had been in West Africa said that it's like the best thing a Peace Corps volunteer in Africa can do is to catch syphilis and die, preferably in public. And I thought, what? Excuse me? And then I had one night I woke up and said, oh my God, I get it. What were we? We were the white rescuers of these. Now, I did not have that attitude, but basically we were walking billboards for imperialism. We were there for 2 years. We were highly motivated. We were highly educated in a country where teachers weren't highly educated. We were cool. I coached a basketball team. So they look at us and say, oh, I want to be like you, not I want to be like Africa, who I am, this culture which carries very different values, though I have no idea what it's like now. It's been rather a long time. But so what that gave me was new eyes to see the world with, because I'd lived for 3 years when I was a 10-month-old daughter. Her sister was born there. And I understood there is a world beyond the United States. Mm-hmm. And if there's this world, then there are all these other worlds. So that just means America is not the end of all thought and the end of all progress.
Thank goodness.
Quote, thank goodness. And that's exactly right. So I came back during the Vietnam War.
Yep, okay.
And I looked at it and the civil rights movement, which probably had the biggest effect on me because it's...
So you came back into the hotbed of that.
I came back in 1967.
Okay.
I thought, what the fuck happened? I was only gone 3 years. It's
right.
like... And someone helped me put it in perspective that why I couldn't see America until I left it. Not sure, he said, I'm not sure who discovered water, but I'm sure it wasn't a fish.
Explain that.
Well, if you're swimming in it, you can't see it. Ooh. So if you get outside it and come back, now you have perspective.
That's true of all indoctrination, isn't it? Right? Like if you're indoctrinated.
Oh no, of course, yeah, no, exactly.
You don't see it.
So this is the level of universal indoctrination, with or without a cult, that goes on. And I was I was inoculated against it by how I was not raised.
Yeah.
And how I just, like Topsy, I just growed. And the experience of having a family. I mean, so what a transformational period. Yeah. I become a father. I go to Africa. Doesn't everyone? I come back. I'm in the middle of a war and the civil rights movement. And this is the story you know. This is pivotal. So my daughter is 4.
You're back in the States.
I'm back in the States. And I have a picture of her and 5 of her African friends. And she can't pick herself out. Which one am I? So up on the slide screen. Which one am I, Daddy? Am I this one? No, you're not that one. Am I this one? No. Which one am I? The white one? No concept. No fucking concept. Then what happens? A week later, she's out in the streets. She's a black kid. Oh, that's exciting. And the kids she's with say, we don't play with.
I'm going to have to bleep that out, but yeah.
We don't play with. If you want to play with them, you can't play with us. My 4-year-old daughter, I'm still crying 60 years later, comes up the steps and wants me to explain that. And something snapped. I will live a life of resistance. And I have. How lucky am I to be able to do that? Part of that is because I'm white and male. I could get work. I never had to worry about feeding my family. I could go to college and did eventually. As you know, I dropped out 4 times. But it's like, so I got to be the way I am by having a set of experiences, both then and since, that allowed me to be fundamentally outside of the indoctrination, outside of the mind and spirit control that passes for American society. And because I had an open heart, yeah. So people say, ask me, you're 85, why don't you just take a break? I said, because I'm still breathing. That's why. So the die was cast back in my 20s, and then everything else just built on that.
Yeah. Now, there's another piece of your story that I just want to have you touch on and show how it relates. And that is, you've mentioned that you're a white man because you've always been white-presenting.
I'm indigenous heritage, but I have white skin privilege. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You want to talk about
Thank you, all of you, for contributing to my well-being. I'm so grateful. Not. It's like, yeah. And also, again, as I'm sure I've said to you, I was born in 1940, so the war was over when I was school age. The economic boom of the 50s, 60s, into the 70s, creation of a middle class with the GI Bill. There was space in the society to be in resistance. It wasn't the militarized state that it is now. Yeah.
How do you want to go into your indigenous heritage and how you see that fitting into the constellation of you?
Well, I think the biggest piece of it. So, first of all, I wasn't raised in relation to that. My family left. I think they were living in Ponca City. I don't know, outside the Osage Reservation, which was the subject of Killers of the Flower Moon. So my dad was 9 when that happened, and it was my grandfather's story. So it's my family history. It was never talked about because what do we talk about in this podcast? Trauma. Yeah. Because the level of cultural trauma keeps people from raising up what's happened to them. Yeah. Because there's too much pain involved. There are 22 murders, and they went from being, because they had oil under the reservation, the richest people in America. Then with the crash, then they were no longer the richest people in America. And
the Osage tribe, you're saying?
The
Osage tribe.
The Osage tribe, right. Yeah. And I have a sign outside on my shelf says Jerry Atkin, Osage Heritage. So how did I get in touch with that heritage? Some in Africa, because the root of all indigenous culture is the land. And being on the land in Africa is this powerful experience of, looking out your window and saying, oh, there goes a lion. It's like, how interesting. Whoops, Ooh. That's not good. My dog comes back kind of scarred. And So what did Africa give me? It's so much, but one of the things was that there's a planet that we're part of, and that it's powerful and beautiful and worth fighting for. Yeah. Hence the climate activist piece late in life. So I just think of my life, I've been given all these gifts and all these opportunities, and the best of my capabilities, I've tried to do as much as I could to mitigate the horror of what we've done to each other, and race and gender and patriarchy.
And class. I feel like you spent a lot of time with working people.
I did.
I mean, race and class is how you talk about your activism, but do you want to talk about kind of the bulk of what you did in those years?
It's so interesting to me that, again, I grew up in America, so I really was fed a lot of bullshit, even if it wasn't, my family wasn't shoving it down my throat. It was still around me.
Of course.
And I really didn't really understand class until, the 7 years I loaded trucks in the post office. And then I understood class in a very different way. And again, there's no end of tragedy in how groups of people are othered, made other, and then persecuted, race, class, gender, whatever, whatever it is. And that constant assault on people wears them down. I rarely write about race because I think it's not, words aren't really going to touch it. But my friend Terry, born in Florida, raised in the projects in Detroit, wrote how many times in a day he had to deal with race. It took 2 pages. I get to deal with race if I want to.
Yeah.
It's optional.
I mean, that's a piece of what we call white privilege.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Damn, I knew there was a word for it. But it just pisses me off, obviously. Yeah. So if you work, particularly, so I worked in the bulk mail centers, 800 workers, 800 workers, 50 miles of conveyor belt, something as a factory.
Yeah.
And you understand what it is to actually work, and how working people have to cooperate in order to survive and resist. And this was in L.A. I think maybe 10% of the workers were white. The rest were people of color. So when you're on the shop floor, you have a common enemy. It's not about to fight with each other. So
it's the boss. 7
years, yeah, exactly. Yeah. 7 years, I never saw a racial incident on the shop floor.
Yeah.
So, I took that experience, and then eventually, my wife started a nonprofit called Center for Working Life that dealt with the mental health issues of work, and especially job loss, plant closures. So we did that work for about 30 years. So I constantly worked with workers of every kind. Started out with mostly steel and auto workers, the industrial working class. That's kind of in decline.
So as I understand it, let me just as I understand it, you and your wife would get brought into plants of working class people where the plant was about to be closed, and you would do trainings so that they could support each other emotionally.
Okay. So
through the process?
I got to,
all right, you do it.
So my mad wife from New Jersey, and the New Jersey attitude has the same half-life as plutonium. It's with you long as she was pretty extraordinary, and she, not telling that story, but she ended up going to jail for refusing to testify before a grand jury. It was sort of an attempt to create conspiracy indictments back in the 60s, and then out of that decided to go back and work in factories. She was a clinical social worker. So that took everything she had learned as being a social worker and a clinician and deepened it in the experience of working people.
Yes, and you talked to me a lot about lived experience and how important that is. And I believe you've mentioned that there was actually a bit of a movement in that time of intellectuals deciding intentionally to go and take a job in a working
Now, that
class.
was not entirely good because, because the movement was still dominated by white men, and there was a little bit of noblesse. There was two things. There was an inherent noblesse oblige, nobility. I mean, we're coming into the benighted working class to bring them political knowledge or whatever it is. And then a real understanding that they couldn't possibly do the work in organizing that they needed to do if they didn't have that experience, if they didn't know what working people's lives were like.
Right.
So,
I'm noticing a similarity here because you talked about, with race, dealing with race. Your friend Terry could detail out
Right.
2 pages worth of incidents where he was forced to deal with race each and every day
Right.
as a black man.
Right.
And that you, as a white man, you can engage with it or you can not.
Right.
You can just live your life as
Right.
a white guy and good luck to everyone else.
Right.
But isn't that the same with this movement of intellectuals who were going into, these spaces of working labor? Because they were doing it for knowledge and to give what they could and to try to do something, but ultimately they had the ability to just step
Walk
right back
away.
out of it and be like,
right.
look, aren't I great?
Yes, exactly. And, I do think that happened. I mean, not intentionally. But if I were to look back at the movement as a whole, it's like a friend of mine says that the phrase young should, and there's afterwards you should say, and stupid. Yes, because they didn't know the world they were entering. In other words, they didn't come up through the experience. They walked into it, tried to understand it, tried to use it to organize, because they're being, manipulative in a way. And they meant well.
Yeah, sure.
But we do, there is a possibility for learning, and a lot of them did learn from that and then went on to do really amazing things, not always in factories, but other.
And can you tell me, at the time that was going on, what was the state of unions? Because I feel like, I have some recollection of like the 20s and 30s of unions being strong. And then I feel like we had this, I know the union busting didn't really, really hit until the 80s. But what was it like when you were doing that? What was the relationship, or like how did people think of unions?
Unions were in the business of becoming businesses. What does that mean? It's called business unionism, and it kind of grows up in the 50s, which says if we're going to be negotiating with businesses, we have to be like businesses. We have to have the same access to information, and we talk the same language. A lot of unions, you could not rise in the union unless you started as a worker, and then you rose up. That shifted, and now the heads of most major unions are Ivy League graduates.
Okay.
And the organizers that are sent out are these beautiful college-age people who've never worked a day in their life. And what worker is going to trust a worker, someone who has never worked or had a family, to represent them? So there's a contradiction in there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, again, the unions of the 30s and the 40s, before the attack from the McCarthy period,
that's good to know.
broke the continuity of unions, and then the nature of work changed. So the industrial...
Damn that McCarthy, he fucked up so much shit.
He really did. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know, a current president or something. It's like, so this is, how random I am, but it's like the cockroach phenomenon. It's not how much they eat, it's what they fall in and spoil.
Ew. Yeah.
So that's what's going on.
Gross.
That's right now. So I learned I've been given lots of experiences that I get to learn from, and again, with the sort of relative safety of white skin privilege and college educated and kind of charming and once in a while. But
being a man.
Oh God, no.
What?
No. Do not call me like a man. No.
You don't want me to call you a man?
No.
Okay.
Just Jerry's good.
Okay, you can.
I know I'm
Jerry.
a man. I can't help it. Or I guess I could, but it's a little old, a little late in life to sort of imagine something.
Well, and we can take this out if you want. You've told me that you also would have at some point considered yourself a little bit androgynous.
Absolutely.
Or like non-binary by today's terminology.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I wouldn't dignify it by calling it non-binary. I would just say there are feminine aspects and male aspects, Duh.
I honestly think that's true of everyone.
It's true of everyone.
Yeah.
But just recently,
Mm-hmm.
my good friend Carol says, you have the heart of a woman.
Oh, there you go.
She really knows how to, But I do think that in the sense of kindness, compassion, caring, it's more likely to be found in women than in traumatized men.
Well, maybe the traumatized is the operating factor.
Yes,
there.
and if you're male in America, you're traumatized.
Why is that?
Yes. Because you are taught that feelings are bad things, and you must never show your feelings. You must never show weakness. You should never show kindness or compassion, because that's would make you queer. Another terrible thing. So again, when my younger daughter was 18, Daddy, why are men such jerks? Well, I don't think we're born that way.
Oh.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's the training, but the training has been very effective, and I mean, obviously they're kind, gentle, loving men there, but it's not easy. And so it's just I'm not going to tell that story. Okay, where are we? Where are we going with this?
I think that was good. That was a very good, who you are and the things that you know.
So I'm so grateful for my life. I am so grateful that I've had these opportunities to break out of the sort of constraint of our society and our gender role stuff and all that. So, you know that I've been dealing with post-COVID for more than 2 years and definitely cramping my style, but I never run out of gratitude. So I just and it's the difficult thing is it prevents me from actively engaging around issues of race, which just have had a lot of experiences most white men of my generation have, and it's hard not to be able to actually reinvest that actively.
Because of your current limitations as an 85-year-old.
Yeah. Yes. So.
Well, so you're here at 85.
Yeah.
You have been actively involved in activism things and trying to make a better world.
Absolutely.
Since the 1960s.
Yes.
You gave a lot of stuff. You've been at, WTO, that big protest?
The WTO, that was very special for those who remember it here in the Northwest.
So a lot of really pivotal things, deep in the trenches of other topics and actively trying to make life better and help people relate to each other in a way that will sustain life.
Right.
We are in a current moment that is scary.
Yeah.
That is destroying so much of what I know you actively worked for.
Yep.
What is your assessment of the moment?
Okay.
How we got here, and what the fuck do we do, Jerry?
Well, harkening back to our podcast,
Speaking truth to goodness.
Yeah. Which Patty stole from something I wrote, actually.
Yeah, I totally
Just to be
did.
clear.
Mm-hmm.
But I came up with finding joy and purpose on a burning planet.
Yep.
That was my contribution. Maybe around in the 25 years ago, some of my later life was conditioned by my wife's health, and this was a big period of time. I was working with Jobs with Justice a lot and farm workers a lot, rural organizing project when I was at the coast. I stopped being overly concerned about the campaign, whatever it was. Important, I wanted to win, but what my contribution was to try to help to build a sustainable culture so that people could still be activists at 85 and not burn out and not be discouraged when it was discouraging. So that's about how we build relationships and how critical the role of friendship is in political action, which gets filtered out as the higher you go, I think, in the state, in the society. So actually, I think, and I haven't really thought about this for a while, but it's like what I wanted to help people do, and that does go back to the WTO when we were doing some teach-ins. So I would say people are going to tell you you're crazy, and you're not.
Crazy for what? For
caring about these brown people 10,000 miles away, or black people closer at home. But it's your choice. You get to live whatever you believe in. They'll tell you don't, that you're just being foolish, or, they don't have the right to tell. They can say that to you, but you don't have to take it. You can decide what you believe, what you value, what's important to you, and you can live for that. And don't let anybody ever tell you different. So that was my message at those teach-ins. So I can't remember. Maybe it was after the podcast, but I came up with there's the fierce urgency of now, true, and the fierce urgency of the long haul. Yeah. Nothing changes until we heal each other. This really doesn't matter. It's just dueling factions, really, unless we stop. To demonize someone is to become a demon. I just made that up on the spot.
It preaches, Jerry.
Or like my friend said, anger is like taking poison and hoping somebody else will die. So that's a good one, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So what I've tried to do is root my activism in those deeper values and that true belief that identity politics is a disaster. It's not wrong. It's just a losing strategy. We have to work together. We have to come together or we'll fail. I mean, that's really clear to me.
How can we honor people's identities while also avoiding...
Okay.
The whole identity politics thing, I'm like, okay, I kind of get what it is, but maybe there's something I'm missing about that.
Well, let's just take black nationalism.
Okay.
Black nationalism makes a lot of sense. There are enough black people in this country to have a separate economy. Mm. They actually have they can do that, and that's Elijah Muhammad and all these other folks. And I don't. That's a great. I actually wish it could work, but it can't because the power's still in white people's hands. Mm. Okay. So if we don't come together, if we don't support each other mutually, we will fail. I mean, it's inevitable. So the trick is to be able to honor. So this, I think, is really important. There's this really cool term I learned later in life called cultural humility. And it means, look, we're the dominant culture. I lost my track there. I thought you were holding hands with me.
Sorry, we just can't count on the table. Cultural humility.
Let's try that again. If you really, so what I learned actually being in Africa, and again, not having been socialized, I went to Africa feeling like I was a guest, feeling like I was being given this great gift of being in this culture, and in no way ever looking down on any part of it. So my family was embraced. Other people had racial incidents, like every 15 minutes, because they did not come in humbly. They did not come in. So here, I think this is a really critical thing, knowing what you couldn't know. I mean, that's it. I couldn't know what my friend Terry's experience was. I could never even come close. Yeah. However, I could care deeply and move closer to understanding. And if you're doing that, I literally have been in just so many situations that I shouldn't have been able to be in because people sense you are aware of your limitation and honoring it and expressing that deep desire to be an ally, that deep desire to be a friend, to be part of a group, work, whatever. And that's really made it possible for me to do, sort of like, where I worked with all lesbians in the women's music industry. I mean, that's counterintuitive, but I can't tell you how much fun it is to work with lesbians. Well, I just did. So, I love lesbians. And I also have a deeper understanding because I spent 2 years working with them.
Right.
So things that are abstract issues become personal when you are connected through living together and working together. And that's how I think racism and all these other gender stuff goes away. It's when we work together and de-other each other.
Well,
I just made that up. But I mean,
no,
it's the othering that we're separate when in fact, yes and no.
But I can't help but remember your story about having worked in the post office, loading trucks, where all of the races within that space came together because the other in that situation was the boss.
Right.
And so, it just shows how the things we divide ourselves, the lines we divide ourselves along are so fluid, and really they're about power.
Well, yeah.
And not about melanin. Imagine that,
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine a black market melanin group. I was like, so we can get out of this white race. Or apparently we can't do that, and I can't do that either.
So what do we do now, Jerry? We've got this problem where the people in charge are trying to divide us up and point us at each other and harm people who they've othered, in a way that I haven't seen in my lifetime. And I'm horrified, and I feel embarrassed. I'm angry so much that I cry and shake that my fellow country people, the people I share this land with, would be hurt. What do we do? I want them to stop.
First of all, it's like, go ahead. It's just fine.
No, it's okay. That's all.
No, it's perfect because, look, we are meant to be loving beings. I mean, that's my experience. That's my, it's very complicated. We're meant to care about each other, and if we truly do, other people are less likely to other us, make us other. And I very rarely go someplace where I feel like an other at this point. Of course, I rarely go anyplace, so maybe that doesn't mean much. But I think, so let me take the example of babies.
Okay.
Babies. The older I get, the more aware I am of the miraculous nature of birth and growth. So someone brought in a baby who was 13 days old not too long ago.
Oh. It's been a while since I've seen one that fresh.
Yes, exactly. Me either.
Yeah.
But here's this perfect being with no anger, with no intent to harm. This is where we start. And I've just become increasingly drawn to that too. In different ways. I get to touch life in a more concrete way. I just have been given those gifts, so that people, a few, not many, of the people where I live are Trump voters, and some of them are lovely people, and I actually love them. I do not love that they watch Fox News 24 hours a day, but. So it's like judgment. I judge behavior. I rarely judge people. I mean, there are exceptions, perpetrators, crooked, insane politicians. But so I'm able to move toward them. And I have to, so I've had this sort of blessed life that gives me all this gratitude to work with. It's like, it's so, and also just to be an activist is because of white skin privilege. I have not had to fight to feed my family. I have not had to fight to keep a roof over their head. I have not had to fight racism coming at me every day.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, I've had haven't had much, but I've always had enough. And I get to do what I think is right, and they're not going to punish me.
Right.
If I were black or queer, they would.
Yeah.
Right? Or brown or...
Well, so I think you and I we get along so well because we're both kind of bleeding hearts. You know, like we're going to go to the care and the love and the everyone needs to feel worthy and capable and approved of and all of those good things that every human needs, right? Like I talk a lot about the human needs, our emotional needs. But we could cry rivers, and that doesn't stop ICE picking people up.
Right.
What do we do, Jerry? You talk about, here's the thing. You talk a lot about strategy and tactics.
Okay, want to go there?
Right? I do want to go there because
let's go there.
Strategy is big and tactics are how you get there, right?
So, but I think there's another framework, which is before we can get to strategy and tactics, which I think is the absolute key to everything in terms of activism and politics, we have to talk about how to get people there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Physically there with hope.
Back to hope. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. So the brilliance of Portland, which has been sort of in abeyance since Trump and the Black Lives Matter movement, which was violently corrupted by Trump in his first term. What was I saying, Patty? I've lost it again.
Strategy and tactics, and you said
okay. Before you can get there, you've got to get together. Okay. You have to establish trust, and in a way, you have to find a way to harness your righteous anger so that it doesn't get in the way. So then we can jump a little bit into strategy and tactics.
Well, can we talk about the coming together? Because we're in a moment where we're all pretty separated because of COVID, you know, which, well, we were there anyway, but that enhanced it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, we do have the online spaces, and I think people of your age are more easily ready to say, nope, that's nonsense, that's not good enough. And in some ways I agree, but I also have, you know, been doing this thing online and seen really magnificent communities come together and deep connections. There are people for whom it meets so much of their social need and does imbue them with hope. So, like, there's no perfect one answer to this, but, like, what gives people hope, Jerry?
Well,
how do we foster it?
Now, become by embodying hope.
Okay.
I mean, it's really simple. You have to live the dream that you have, and know that even though you're surrounded by other negative energy and so on, that as long as you are embodying the world you want, that world is already here. It's under threat, but it's here. So I just feel like whatever it takes to scrape away fear, whatever it takes to scrape away anger, that's what we need to do so we can think.
Yes.
Right? Because that prevents us from thinking. And
literally chemically in our brains, it does.
I believe that.
Yes.
Yes, you would. It's the kind of thing you would tell me.
Yeah, I know.
So I've learned a great deal about trauma from you. It's actually been a little traumatic learning it. But the reality is it has given me another analytical lens to understand why damaged people are damaged.
Yeah.
And again, the unacknowledged, everything that you believe, I think is true. Well, not everything, but most things. But the truth is, people have to be healed. We're broken. We've been breathing toxic air, toxic ideas, toxic food. It's like, so there's got to be a lot of healing. Some of it's physical, but mostly it's our understanding of our mutual responsibility for each other. And that's why all the mutual aid stuff that goes on is such a critical piece of building the world we want. And so all those things need to expand and to reach out and encompass more people. And in a sense, people have to be calmed down and gentled, if you're a horse, before they can move on.
Yeah.
They can want to, they can have good ideas, they can do good things. But I've just had that experience of being able to live in relationship to my beliefs and get away with it.
Right. Nothing in the world beat it out of you.
Nope.
But for so many people it has. Right. Yeah.
Right. So, okay, then there's the C word, not capitalism this time, which is usually the C word, but compassion.
Okay.
Compassion is, if we are feeling like we have been damaged by the society, and we all have, everyone else has. Well, we need to have some compassion for how they got this way. This is how I got this way. Mm-hmm. How did they get this way?
Yep.
And somehow there's just a softening around the edges. It doesn't mean you accept negative behavior. You know, my Trump voting people I love, actually, just are just weird things to sort of carry around. But we have it in our ability to make this is kind of pathetic. I mean, we can make the world better every day by how we treat each other. That doesn't sound very revolutionary, but it is, right? Yeah. So, and we can have a little compassion for ourselves. Oh my God, what a concept.
That's the hardest one.
Well, yes, and yet you'll never come into your full power until you do. It's just, we live in an incredibly broken world. I mean, it's taken us hundreds of years to get this fucked up. It'll take us at least a minute and a half to sort of fix it. Oh, no, wait, it's going to take a lot longer. Yeah. How we raise our kids, I mean, that's obviously a big thing, knowing how you've raised yours. And somehow, so people of my generation, Harry Belafonte was a pretty big star, and at 84, he was still going around the country working with the issue of youth, the incarceration of youth of color. And in this great documentary, Sing Your Song, about his activism, he says, I always thought he was 84. When I was 84, I'm older than that now, I would be sitting in my patio writing my memoirs, and here I am going around to these prisons, and what was his conclusions? I just can't let the bastards win. So
that is how I feel. You've said that to me before.
Yeah, I just can't. So knowing how limited I am, and it makes, if I hadn't been the sole caregiver for my wife for the last 18 months of her life with dementia, I would not be patient, and I'd be going out of my mind with the limitation I'm dealing with. Mm-hmm. I may be out of my mind, but that's not the reason, so whatever. It's like, but, okay, I'm going to, this really ridiculous analogy, but it's true. And then, so I feel like a wood tick. You know that.
Okay.
Do you know that?
No.
Wood ticks can lie dormant for years, and then when prey comes by, they jump on and start sucking blood. I'm a lot like a wood tick.
All right.
I am like today, I could barely get here. But as soon as there is prey, i.e. human beings with whom I can interact and mutually strengthen, I'm good to go. Mm-hmm. Yes. Then I'll go back, and then I'll be totally hopeless and pathetic. And I forgot 2 doctor's appointments this week. That's really not good.
It ain't easy being 85, Jerry.
It's easy to be 85. It's hard to keep functioning at 85.
Oh, okay.
Being 85, if you're alive, is inevitable. So you don't have to do anything. comes up and slaps you in the face. So we'll just do a little bit about strategy and tactics. If we know what we want to accomplish, so let's take the zenith, the industry hub, the polluting disaster waiting to happen out on the Willamette.
May I expand upon that?
Yes.
So for the listener, the Zenith Hub, it's the CEI, what is that, Central Energy Infrastructure Hub, something like that. And it's up here on the north end of Portland, where there's infill, just like sand kind of land, where they've put all these just hundreds of large oil tanks, and they're all unreinforced. They're all not ready for an earthquake, because it's only fairly recently that this area became aware that we were at risk of an earthquake. And so there's been a big push, and that was some of the climate activist work I had done, was to work to get that oil off of that land, because it's known that when the Cascadia earthquake happens, which is from the subduction zone out in the Pacific Ocean, when that happens, that land will liquefy. And the ensuing flood and fireball of oil that would happen would make it to the Pacific Ocean in like 3 days, and the city would be absolutely decimated. So there's been a huge push by Extinction Rebellion and other groups in town here to get that remediated, to return that land to a more natural state. However, there keeps being backroom deals and all kinds of things that every time the activists think they've made some headway, the business interests in the background just swoop right back in and keep it going. So that's when we talk about the Zenith Hub, that's what we're referring to, and the effort that's gone in there. So go ahead. The strategies.
I have no idea. Oh, strategy. Oh,
strategy
yes.
Versus tactics.
Okay, thank you.
It's all right. We'll get there.
So we want the hub gone.
Yeah.
The strategy is to do an analysis of where the pressure points are, where we can exert influence that will actually impact the behavior of the city of Portland and so on. And then we design actions to impact those pressure points. Mm-hmm. So doing like one of the loveliest...
And that's the tactics?
That's the tactic.
So strategy is...
But a sit-in, civil disobedience, they're not strategies, they're tactics.
Okay.
So if you put them in the wrong place, they do little or no good. So you have to target those weak points or develop a strategy for increasing the people who are actually actively involved in doing it.
Right.
So one is building out the movement, and the other is using what energy there is effectively. But if sometimes it just feels really good to sit down on a railroad track. Well,
sometimes it does.
Yeah, it does. We get very little coverage of our actions in the newspaper, so we're not spreading the information in the way we want to, but we still keep doing it, which I'm not saying is entirely a bad thing. But the better thing is to think through, who do we need to influence?
Sure.
In city government. How can we do that? What actions lead toward that? As opposed to this great urge to run out and rip shit up because we're so frustrated.
Right. So what would you say in that situation? A strategy could be, we need to create a public outcry, right? Because with that, like, is that a strategy or a tactic?
Here's the difference.
Okay.
Here's the difference.
Okay.
So, to go to city council and protest, it might work, especially with this city council. Get your hands off the table, Jerry. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine.
Conk.
It's like, might work, might not. Building a relationship with each city councilor around the issues that goes deep, not just coming in and doing a sort of presentation, which I don't think we've done, cultivating the woman who is on the Oregonian who covers environmental issues, who's done some very amazingly progressive stuff, but we haven't built a relationship with her over time that would create her bringing to us what she's discovering that might help us to accomplish what we're... So
ultimately we want to make the doing of business on that land untenable for the businesses doing business on that land.
Yes. Now, if we had a mass movement, we would have different tactics. We could have a different strategy. Right now, we don't have a group. I'm not going to say army. I don't throw that image out. A large group of dedicated people. And I don't think the pressure, I think, around climate activism, which is that fierce urgency of now, is really true. I'm going to say, blinds people to thinking strategically. Mm-hmm. They're thinking, that's not true. Having a deep strategy and a long-term strategy as opposed to strategy in this moment. Right.
I still find the strategy versus tactics thing really difficult, right? Because I get how easy it is to go, oh, if we just get a bunch of people out there with signs, we protest like, yeah. But that's probably among the most minimal of tactics you can do without really thinking
except its visibility. And
okay.
So doing it in terms of visibility is really important. But it's not going to move the lever.
But you need to know why you're doing it. Right?
Right. And so
that visibility should serve the greater goal of your strategy of making them look bad publicly, right?
And yet, if everybody who goes out and protests in that way, which I've done a lot and care about, talk to 3 neighbors one-on-one would probably move ahead farther.
That's interesting.
It's just like, if you want to win, you have to be really creative. And I have this, I'm generally not cynical, but I say, if the way we're organizing worked, wouldn't something be organized? I know that's harsh, but we need to actually have conversations about alternative ways, so we get smarter in that conversation. But there's too much to do to really have those conversations. So I'm an idealist in the sense of I want things to happen that are really difficult in this moment when so much is going on. But I also want my grandkids to have a planet. I'm really committed to that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. When my daughter went to the UN Climate Conference in Glasgow, my favorite poster of protest was, "Mr. CEO, do you have children? Do you like your children?" It's like, because if you do, motherfucker, this is not the way it's like.
Yeah, there's not a lot of long-term thinking. There's a lot of fourth quarter profits thinking going on. Yeah,
and I understand the pressures. And then also, we have to, there's so many different kinds of people. We have to expand the range of people that we can easily, literally embrace. And understand that we're so different and we've been traumatized in different ways, but and that healing piece always has to be in there somewhere.
So, Jerry, I keep trying to pull out of you strategy and tactics of, do this with the business council, do whatever with the whatever. And all you keep telling me is to get to know people and be nice to people and make connections.
Yes.
Build hope among people.
Yes. Yes, and then kick the shit out of them. No. That's the payoff. No, I guess we don't get to do that. That is satisfying. But
what I'm catching is everything starts.
Everything starts with how we treat each other and ourselves. We'll go right back to that. I mean, it's really important to believe that you make a difference when the society is telling you don't. Well, where was I just recently? I can't remember now, but telling people your voices matter. Every voice matters.
Yeah.
And it's true. And randomish thought, but showing respect to young people is a huge part. Making young people feel that they're part of something as opposed to separate from and under attack. Yeah. When there's so many factors, including just pure distraction, that keep us from doing that. So,
don't you think it's the same on the other end of our age spectrum, though? That old people's voices are dismissed, are ignored?
I'm sitting in stunned silence. Duh. But here's the thing. So, I represent a generation of activists that came out of the anti-war movement, civil rights, and there's a sense in many people, which I understand, we've been through a lot, we know a lot, pay attention to what we say. Wrong approach.
Okay.
Because young people do not feel, they do not know anything about that history, so it's not a big trump card to play. Ooh, Trump, bad word. Sorry. Sometimes I forget myself, say the T word. The way that I see, and I think it was the 350 guy, Bill, the climate activist started Third Act, just because you're young and smart. No? Okay. No. Anyway, Act 3 is for activists over 60, I think.
Yeah, 55, I think.
But working intergenerationally is the thrust of the work. How do you do that? You go in with, cultural humility.
Oh.
It's like, hey, look at me, look at what I know. Oh, no, wait. Thank you for picking up this work. Get your hand off the table. I'm thinking that we're doing our old podcast. You have gratitude that in this horrible planet that they're inheriting, people are trying to make things better. Thank you. Thank you for your work. If it wasn't for your work, my work would have been for nothing. I'm really grateful to you. And I have a lot to learn, but I also think I have things that can be useful. So how can we work together?
Right. Take the best of what we all have, right?
Right. But you have to start with knowing how alienated youth are, because that they live in a generation that I told my friend Mara, every generation needs a name, and yours is Generation Totally Fucked. And she said, "Oh, we're just going to go right to the heart of it, are we?" I said, "Yes."
Don't beat around it at all.
No, it is. Growing up now is horrible. So the young people who have, and people who find a way to work with young people are very impressed with them.
Yes. But
it does mean that we don't get to be experts. We get to know shit. We do not. We know about resistance and rebellion. That's not going to work. So yeah, that's a lot of my thinking about where we are now, what we need to do, which is deep work as opposed to the superficial stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could still do it, I'd be at the No Kings March, and it's really important to be visible, and when there's no visible resistance, then they're just going to come down all that much harder.
So you do feel like our visibility is really important right now when we want to stand up to the regime?
Especially if we're in costume.
Oh, I mean, that does make it better, and also obscure our identity, so double bonus.
But again, the most beautiful picture out of this disaster of ice is Kathy Nome on top of the ice building, and there's one protester down below in a chicken suit. That just
She's standing there like,
what?
I thought they were all like raucous and stuff.
Yeah.
Causing trouble. Turns out they're just crazy.
Yeah, there's that. And that's a good thing. So, no kings. So, again, the statistic I happily spout, 30% of Americans identify with MAGA, 47% identify with no kings.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought 25%. 47% is mind-boggling. That's 170 million people.
Yeah.
Now, how do we create the space for them to enter, and have how is it going to transform what we do when we bring regular people who are concerned, as opposed to us who spend way too much time thinking and worrying about this stuff.
Well, what I notice is we're in a situation where the actions of the regime are focused on making life more uncomfortable for us, which is further putting us into a place where we don't have the extra capacity to push back, right? Like food is being stripped away. So, I mean, I don't even know all of it, but like all of I've paid attention in the news, but I couldn't re-spout it. But there's all of these kind of basics of our lives that are required for us to feel safe and secure and protected, and they're being chipped away at, which seems to reduce the pool of people who are going to be ready to stand up and to be visible, or to have the time to even make calls to senators and things like that, right? And so if we're going to support each other in this time, I feel so much like we could just, this is me being crazy, but we could just take the system out from under them, because it's all of the working people making everything go anyway, right? It takes everybody along the chain of, maybe it's a bad example, but a farm, a dairy farm. It takes people working for what currently is not very good wages at every level of that whole process, from the production and the processing and the delivery and the management in the store. Like, that is so many people contributing to all of us getting to have milk on our table. And if we all did that...
Well, what about the cows?
Oh, well.
Let's,
that's
I want to say a word for the cows. Without cows, no.
Well, that's very true. Right?
Maybe they should unionize.
So we should take good care of them, too.
Well, we should.
Right? We should give them things for their body that are good to eat, because that's going to, if we're expecting to drink their milk, right? Like, we just have this exploitative nature, or, what's the other C word, Jerry? Mm-hmm. Everything is exploitative. And it gets, because we're all like feeling like we're fighting for survival, it gets in the way of us seeing that we are actually in this moment all providing for each other.
So Peter Parks, who you know, has a dog. Mm-hmm. He walks his dog in his neighborhood a couple times a day for years. He meets his neighbors. He talks to all his neighbors. Mm-hmm. He creates a true neighborhood watch that actually works, and every person on the street knows who every other person on the street is and how to contact them. And
but Jerry, every person on his street is incredibly privileged.
Well, not the homeless communities that he works with.
Okay, all right, I stand corrected.
Yes, but that's true.
We have a very classist way of arranging ourselves on the maps of our cities. Okay.
Now then, what does Peter do with those connections once he has made them?
All right, I'll let you keep talking.
So the one thing I know is he's been working around immigration issues for a decade. I know he's in the trenches right now. He's a younger man. He's 80 or something. Yeah, I was at his 80th birthday party.
Spring chicken.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, you're a free-range chicken. He's a spring chicken.
Spring rooster, really.
Oh.
Technically. I mean, Well,
I didn't call him a hen.
But what I'm saying is... So here's someone who's a dedicated activist. As long as I've known him, he was in the machinists, this would be 30 years ago, who knows every person on his street and can talk to them about anything. He can talk to them about the CEI hub. He can talk to them about, and they trust him. Mm-hmm. So if each person who had a dog did that, we'd have an incredible network of people who were at some level connected, and that connection was capable of being expanded. So I just think dogs are really important to community organizing.
Is that a strategy or a tactic?
That would be both. Because what you're trying to accomplish is the connection of the people who live in a neighborhood. That's the strategic goal. And then the tactic is the dog. So that reduces it to simplicity. Dog equals tactic. Mm-hmm. Network equals initial strategy followed by other strategies. So That might not be a good model, but I like the dog, actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm fond of the dog.
That's fair.
So are the neighbors.
So what's the moral of our story, Jerry? It sounds like we need to do more speaking truth to people's goodness.
That'd be a start. I mean, no, and going to that, it's like my experience. I've been doing this now sort of as a spiritual political practice for at least 40 years. I could not tell you how many times someone says, "Oh, no one has said that to me," or "Wow, you just made my day," or it's like, yeah, it's cheap. It costs nothing. It takes almost no effort. I actually can't stop myself, so it's easy.
Will you demonstrate how to speak truth to goodness? Because you've told me how.
Oh no, Patty, you don't want me to go there.
Oh, yes, I do.
I'm going to tell you how good you are.
Oh.
You really don't want to go there, do you?
I didn't.
Are you willing?
I'm willing, but you don't
Look,
have to do it to
so
me.
here's truth to goodness. So we were in a meeting 3 years ago. I hadn't been in a meeting in 8 years.
You and I were.
Yeah,
It was an artist-activist meeting.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And something about what each of us had said caused us to come together and sort of acknowledge each other in that moment. And look what's come out of it. I get to be a surrogate grandfather. I can get good free meals once a week. I get to play with teenagers who are so much more together than I was as a teenager. They're amazing. So that's your fault.
Yeah.
Because you took how you were raised and turned it 180 degrees.
I sure as fuck did.
You sure as fuck did, and you treated them with respect from the moment they were born. And look at them now. They're these extraordinary human beings, 16 and 14, who are smarter than, wiser than most adults, and know their own minds, and they're not your mind. In other words, they're not, well, they're a little bit like you, but not that much, right? So what you have done in the Seder, the Jewish Passover meal.
Your wife was Jewish, for the listener.
My wife is Jewish. Is there's this thing, Dayenu, when you say, if only, so God gave us the Torah, Dayenu, that would have been enough. God parted the Red Sea, Dayenu, that would have been enough. So Dayenu is like, Dayenu, if you had just raised your children, that would have been enough. But you did more than that. You took on finding ways to organize art into activism in ways that were transferable, that you could get around the country in 15 minutes if the network were completely in place.
Yes.
You never lose your edge of outrage. No, you never lose your edge of outrage. But you hide it well, so that's a good thing too, or sometimes when you should. Most of the time, not all the time. So here you are, one person, here I am, one person, who've done the fucking best we could and never given up. Now, that's speaking truth to goodness, buddy. That's an example of speaking truth to goodness. And now you're reaching out through media that I don't understand into another world.
Share this video.
It's like, so each of us are taking our experience and skills and using them as best we can, given whatever limitations are. Like, yeah, we're good folks. And that's all we're asking other people to be, is just good human beings.
But I think just about everybody is and does good things, and calling out the good things they do encourages it.
No, I mean, again, my experience just is endless of the difference it makes.
Yeah.
So that's what, if back when we were in the more politically correct-ish lefty days, that's the minimal revolutionary program, is to treat each other well and encourage us to be all of who we can be.
You know, you say it's minimal, but by all of the endless hours of conversations we've had between the other podcasts and just in life together, It's the foundation. I don't think it goes anywhere without it, Jerry.
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I saw the poster, women's rights or human rights, Black Lives Matter, law, and the bottom one was kindness is everything. Mm-hmm. Now, I hate to think that my 60 years of strategic thinking and political analysis could be reduced to kindness is everything. But it is.
It is.
It is. It's not very, it's like, but it is. Without it, I mean, we can't, whatever we do, unless we break through this othering, this negative energy between groups, we cannot heal. If we don't heal, we will not survive. The challenges, just take our climate stuff. I mean, there's so many other things, but, we got to calm down enough to think straight and actually force our elected officials to take climate seriously.
Yeah.
But I think we're traumatized, and we get, I kind of go back to this unacknowledged trauma and the trauma of just being part of this society, which is traumatic. So that trauma, we really have to address it at some level. Do I know how to do it in practice? Yes. If you ask me how, I don't know how. But if you put a human being in front of me, I seem to know what to do.
Yeah. So speak truth to goodness.
Yeah.
Heal the trauma.
Yeah.
Build collective power.
Yeah.
Find the weak points to build strategy.
Yes.
And have fun with your tactics.
Always have fun.
Fuck yeah.
And then blow the fucker up.
And blow the fucker up.
Oop, I didn't say that. It's like, yeah. Yeah. Well, even though I don't understand this form that I'm participating in, I'm really grateful to be here with you. I'm always grateful to be with you, so that's nothing new. But it's for me, who is experiencing extreme limitation, to actually be able to speak truth to goodness is a gift to me, because it's just a gift. And I'm going to keep doing it until I can't.
Yeah. The other place you can find Jerry and I is on our podcast, Speaking Truth to Goodness, where we did an entire series trying to figure shit out and solve the world's problems with our friend Michaela, a trans woman in her late 70s. So we brought some pretty cool perspectives to that.
The thing I was proudest of is we had known each other all that long, and Michaela less, but we completely trusted each other and we completely loved each other. Mm-hmm. And so we always stood in the middle. And it wasn't like bringing in experts on anything, right? That wasn't the point.
No, it wasn't.
The point was the conversation about how to survive and endure and to build power out of our lives. And yeah, it had a bigger studio.
A little bit.
Than this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can touch all the walls. That's wrong. Anyway, so thank you
for being here.
And for being in my life.
Oh. Well, I want to do something I don't usually get to do with my guests. Can I give you a hug?
Oh, duh. Oh, hugs. Hugs are important. Really, hug somebody.
Love you, Jerry.
I love you, sweetie. Yes. We're in it together.
We are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That was good.
It was fun.
Well, good. Glad you liked it.
It woke me up.
I am covered
Sweating.
in sweat.